Here we go. Praeterea. Besides, quorum, of which Victoria Sulla parentes proscripti. So, of which whose parents, proscripti, plural. So, of those whose parents have been prescribed by the Victoria, that would be ablative of Sulla, genitive, their bona were erupted, their goods having been seized or snatched away, and their jus libertatis immunitum, which is where we get diminished from basically. So their rights of liberty had been diminished. The offspring of people who had been prescribed couldn't hold public offices. Hord sane alio enemo. So if we take sane out, which usually just means clearly or something like that, with horde means not with another mind. So horde alio enemi. So clearly without some difference of a mind, they were expectobanting, they were waiting for this eventum belli, the actual war, or eventum, this event of the war. So they were clearly, without having a different mind, that the same things that happened on the Sulla would happen. They were waiting for this. Ad hoc, and to this, qui cumque, so whichever people they are, aliarum at qui senatus partiumirant, so those who are on the faction or the part or the side of the Senate, so anyone who is of another faction and is away from the party of the Senates or the side of the Senate and decrees, conturbari, these people, confusion, rem public in the Republic, then minus valere ipsi malabant. So malabant, the verb means preferred. So to this, any of these people who are outside of the party of the Senate side or of others, they preferred for themselves, I'd say that could be even an infinitive, for the Republic to be all in disarray, than to have minus valere ipsi for themselves, than to have less strength or power for themselves. Id adio malum, yesterday's daily dictionary was adio, and if there's no ut, so it means to such an extent, it just means indeed or truly. So this malum, which is a neuter, this trouble or evil, truly, post, multos enos, they've just poeticized it a bit and put the multos in front of the post, still means the same thing. After many years, in the civitatem, in the city or state or in the communities, had revorterated, so it reverted. So this trouble again had, after many years, reverted into this city, into the Republic even. 38. Nem postquem. For after, ablatives, Gnaeus Pompey and M. Crasso were consuls. They're in the ablative because this means when they were doing it. In their consulships, Pompey and Crassus, restituta est tribunucia potestas, tribunal power, whatever you want to call them. Power was restored to these tribunals. Homines adolescents, he's a young man. Summum potestum nacti, they obtained the utmost potestum, this highest power, with which their aetas and animus ferox are at. Their age and their spirits were ferox in the singular, so they were wild or bold, these young men. Coepere, they began, which would take the infinitive, to exagitare, to excite or stir up the plebs, with senatum criminando, which is a gerund, by incriminations, etc., or accusations of the Senate. So they were blaming the Senate for stuff. Deinde, then, we have another gerund, largiando atque pollicando, so largesses or bribes and doles, and with promises or by promises, incendere magus. They inflamed people more, magus. Ita, so thus or so that ipse themselves, clarae potentis qui feri, they became famous and powerful, clarae potentis qui. Contra eos, against these, summa ope nitabator, they strive with their utmost resources, summa ope, pleriqui nobilices, most of the, or very many of the nobilitas, the noble people, species with the appearance, senatus of the Senate, but really pro sur mag, for their own magnification basically, Okay, so they were striving against these, many of these nobles, with being in the appearance of the Senate, really, to aggrandise themselves, as the Lobe puts it. Namqui, and 4, ut, so that, porcus verum, so that to absolve the truth with porcus with a few words, or to unroll the truth, verum's the truth. Post illa tempore, after these times, it's plural, quicumque, anyone or whoever it was we're talking about, wanted to agitavere the Republica, wanted to stir up the Republica with honestus nominibus, basically with honest names, honest words, honest promises, honest slogans, as it's called. We have some people, alias, as if they were renting the Euro Populi, as if defending the rights of the people, rights and genitive, and the other correlative of this ali becomes part, quo, we might just take that as a so that as well, part so that, forent maxima auctorictus senatus, so that the Senate's authority would become maxima, to make the authority of the Senate especially the greatest, or the Senate would have the greatest power. Bonum publicum simulantes, probably present participle. So they're simulating, making a pretense for the good of the public, or the public good, bonum publicum. But each one, quisque, was pro sua potentia, curtabanting. They were contesting for their own potentia, really for their own power. So some were act as if they were defending the public, parts as if they were increasing the Senate's authority. But in reality, this is what was going on. It was for their own power, and this all in a few words. Nequilis, and neither to these people, modestia nequi modus contentionis erat. Neither was there modesty nor any modus or limit of their contesting. Utraque, to both sides of this, they exercises their victorium's crudelita, which is an adverb. So both sides exercise victory very cruelly, or with cruelty, with no modesty and no limits of their contending, or whatever you want to call it. 39. Said postquam, but after Gnaeus Pompeius, the nominative, had been ad bellum maritimum, to the maritime war, fight pirates, missus est, he had been sent, and the Mithridaticums, these are people. The opes plebis was in mutate, diminished. We saw this up here, in minutum. It's like usually it's a diminutum. Here it's just in minutum. So the resources of the plebs had diminished, and the porcorum potentia had crevated. So the power of the few had crevated, increased, or it grew. These people. It's a pronoun. There's also an interjection that looks familiar to that, but it usually takes a dative. It'll say ei mihi or something. So these people had magistrates. These are officers in provinces, provincias. Again, nouns can be listed next to each other. It's only adjectives that usually have an et between them. And alia omnia, and all the other things, they tenorade. So these people held magistrates in provinces and all the other things. Ipsi and oxy. So these people themselves were unharmed, and florente, they flourished. Sine metu, without fear, they agorade their aetum, which they lived out their lives or their age. Terrare, they're terrifying the sketeros, the rest of the people, Eudicus, with the judicial courts, with the legal courts. Quo, who, these keteros people, who plebem in magistratu placidius tractorant. So these rest of the people who were terrified, they would handle tractorant, the plebs, common people, in their role as magistrates, more placidius. It's a comparative, so more placidly or calm or gentle. I think there's a footnote in the lobe. Handle the commons more gently. Demanding seems to be the tribunes were cowed by the threat of prosecution into pursuing a more moderate course of managing the plebs, one less hostile to senatorial interests and that of the governing clique. Okay. if you like footnotes. Okay, so I'll make a daily dictionary word, which was innoxious. Where was it? Somewhere there. Harmless, innocuous, and unharmed. So they lived unharmed, and top 20,000 words, innoxious. It's a adjective that goes us, harmless, innocuous, unhurt, and unharmed. So this would be the meaning. They lived unharmed, so that it also can mean innocent. So I might add that to the list as well. Where were we? Sed ubi, but when primum, this is the first thing that happens. Well, when there was a spes of rebus novandi, of this revolution, novandi rebus. It's a gerundive looking thing. So that when this primum means first. So when in the first place, when they had hope of revolution, was oblata est, was brought to them in these dubious matters or perilous times, as we see. This old curtamen, this old contest, adrexit, stiffened itself up or rose up in eora menimus, in their minds. Okay, how far are we on today? Quod C goes together. But if primo prolio, these are blatives used to take by, with, or from, sometimes in, Catilinae superior or equimenu discessit, but if in the first battle, primo prolium, Catilinae discessit, he left superior, having come off superior, or with an equal hand, so the contest was equal, perfecto, adverb, assuredly, magna clades, it'd be a great disaster and calamity, would oppress or crush the rem publica, the republic. Neque illis, and neither to these people, who adapte forent victoria, who had obtained the victory, diuitus, for a rather long time, would they be liquesset, this is personal, they be able to or possible to use or enjoy this. Utor takes the ablative. So, whoever won, they wouldn't be able to enjoy it for a long time. Quin, from them being defessus, which is tired, and exsanguous, usually means they've lost a bit of blood or something, or they're very tired from losing blood. Who plus posset, he who was able to have more, who was stronger, I'm guessing, from out of the tired and the bloodied, they would extorquit, they would twist out imperium atqui libertatem, the empire and the freedom to do what they want, really, or take away freedom. Fure tamen, there were, tamen nevertheless, extra Coniurationem complores, outside of the conspiracy, very many people, complores, qui, who, ad Catilinam, to Catiline profecti sunt, who left to Catiline in the initial part, in the beginning. And in these people, there was Fluvius, a filius senatoris, the son of a senator, whom was retractum. He was brought back ex itinere from his journey or his travelling ad Catiline, and his parents usidim necari. His parent, which would be the senator, I'm guessing, ordered him to be necari, to be killed. Is dem temporibus. In these same times, at Rome, Lentulus, who was mentioned a couple of days ago, secute Catilina prae caperatit, just as Catilina had given instructions, he'd given him precepts, cause cumque, so of whatever type with moribus their temperament or their character or their fortune was, novus rebus idonius credibit, who he believed, this would be Lentulus, whoever he believed with their behaviour and characteristics and fortune, who were idonious, suitable for novus rebus, the revolution, ought either per se, through himself, or per alios, or for other people, he was soliciting them, soliciting them. Neque solum civis, neither were they citizens alone, but quisque, of whatever modi genus, or whatever type of race they were, hominum, of man, which, quod, modo bello usi, which would be useful, in the bello, again, it's probably taking the ablative because of utor, usi, etc., any type of man who would be useful to him, Moto, in the war. That's it for the day.